Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Educational AD Podcast. We'll be right back with today's guest, but we want to give a shout out to our podcast sponsors, We Coach and the Global Community of Women in High School Sports. Two fantastic organizations. You really need to be a part of them. And now let's hear from our sponsors. We want to say thank you to Snap Mobile. At Snap Mobile, they know that athletic directors need a hand, and they're here for everyone because we know that to develop something in the right way, support matters. At Snap Mobile, our platform helps athletic directors build thriving programs by easing the administrative duties that come with running a championship caliber team. Snap Raise is the fundraising platform that's helped raise over $500 million for clubs and schools across the United States. Snap Spend is the secure and transparent money management platform for clubs. Snap Store provides high quality, affordable, custom spirit gear for students, family members, and supporters of the program. Snap Manage is the custom website platform for the entire athletic department. And Snap Connect is the secure multilingual family engagement and communication platform that allows you to support every family in your community. At Snap Mobile, we're here for you. For more information, go to onsnap.com or contact your Snap Mobile representative to get the support you need. That's onsnap.com. We want to say thanks to Hometown Ticketing, the leading digital ticketing provider to schools and colleges. Go to hometownticketing.com. They're going to show you how to set up your school to sell tickets online, how to scan your attendees and collect your revenue. And every step of the way, you're going to have a dedicated client success manager that provides hands-on support. That's every step of the way. Go to hometownticketing.com. They'll also show you how to set up and sell tickets for things like school dances, school plays, concerts, even graduation. That's hometownticketing.com. Simple and easy online ticketing. We want to say thanks to Gipper. Go to Gipper.com and see how athletic directors and coaches are creating world-class marketing content for their school social media channel. You can do it in seconds on any device, and you don't need any design experience. Tell them you heard about it on the podcast. Use the podcast code ADPOD10 and get 10% off. That's ADPOD10. Go to Gipper.com, start creating custom branded content for your school's social media channel. We want to say thanks to Huddle. Go to Huddle.com. Huddle is how the world sees sports, and over 200,000 teams use Huddle to help their athletes play better using video and analytics. As a football coach, I used Huddle for years, but as an athletic director, our school is a Huddle school, and our coaches just love the smart cameras, the mobile apps. Of course, they love the analytics, but there's so much more. Huddle has the tools to help every team, every coach, and every athlete improve, and they can provide a complete solution for your athletic department. Go to Huddle.com. We believe in sports, and teams believe in Huddle. Join the 6 million users and turn your school into a Huddle school. We want to thank Final Forms, the industry leader in forms and registration, but there's so much more than that. Final Forms can help your stakeholders with things like mobile accessibility. They've got reminders for parents about policies, about physicals, and all the forms that come when you have an athlete in the house. Final Forms can help your coaches with things like attendance and communication. And for athletic directors, Final Forms can help you with eligibility, with rosters, and all the reports that come across your desk. You know, it's time that you talk to a team that's walked in your shoes. To take the next steps, go to finalforms.com/Jake. That's finalforms.com/Jake and get started with Final Forms. We want to say thanks to Athletic Surveys by Lifetrack for sponsoring the Athletic Director Toolbox segment of our podcast. Athletic Surveys by Lifetrack are a quick, easy, and affordable way for you to collect comprehensive data that allows you to evaluate and improve your entire athletic department. Athletic Surveys by Lifetrack also connects you with the 95% of the parents and the student athletes that really love your program. And it gives them an opportunity to demonstrate the importance that a positive athletic experience has for them. Go to athleticsurveys.com or email them at info@athleticsurveys.com to get started. If you've never used a survey to take the pulse of your parents or your student athletes, you're really missing out. Talk to the folks at Athletic Surveys by Lifetrack and let them help you take your athletic program from good to great. We also want to say thanks to Sideline Interactive. Their indoor scoring tables and video boards not only generate income for your department, but also create the ultimate game day experience for your student athletes. Go to sidelineinteractive.com and schedule a live web demo. See their tables and boards in action. You can also email them at sales@sidelineinteractive.com to see exactly what their fantastic products can do for you. We've got a Sideline Interactive indoor scoring table in our gym, and it's just fantastic. We use it for games. We use it for pep rallies. We also use it for signing ceremonies. It's tremendously versatile, and their customer service is just outstanding. That's sidelineinteractive.com. We also want to say thanks to Wall of Fame by Vital Signs. You know, they're on a mission to bring your school's legacy to life. They've got a variety of interactive touchscreen video consoles and an entire library of templates to help recognize the athletic achievements of your students, both past and present. If you're looking for a really cool way to display your school's record boards for all your sports or your Hall of Fame, go to vitalsignswalloffame.com. Let them help you showcase your school's diverse history and your proudest moments. That's vitalsignswalloffame.com, or email them at sales@vitalsignswalloffame.com to get started. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Educational AD Podcast. We're going out to Colorado today, and our guest is Andrew LaCrue. Andrew is the athletic director at Adams City High School, and that's in Commerce City, Colorado. Andrew, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Jake, for having me. Appreciate it.
I got to remember, it's Andrew from Adams City. I keep wanting to say Adam. Thanks so much for spending some time with us. For our listeners, we're recording this on October 25th, so you're going to hear it in a pretty timely manner. Andrew, we always like to start out and let our listeners have a chance to get to know our guests. So give us that quick bio, where you were born, where you grew up, maybe take us up to the college years, and then we'll talk a little bit about your career.
Awesome. Yeah. So actually, I grew up in Commerce City, and I'm an alumni of actually Adams City High School. Just been here all my life, and excited to actually be back in my building after being gone for so many years. So I grew up in Commerce City, graduated in '98, and I went off to Trinidad State Junior College. It was more of a way for me to get away from our hometown, to get out of here, and never really took college seriously until I actually got there, but after Trinidad State, I went on to Metro State University, which is a local university here in downtown Denver, Colorado. Went in first initially as to get my degree in physical education, and just wasn't for me. After actually 3 years in it, 1 year away from getting my degree in that, I decided to move on to a different path, and I studied school counseling. While studying school counseling, I got into coaching. Actually, I started off at Adams City High School coaching baseball, and then just started coaching at the youth rec level, and just kind of moved on throughout there through basketball, football, wrestling, coaching it all, a little mixture, just to help me keep busy as I went to school, and eventually got my degree in human services and emphasis in mental health and counseling. Went on from there to get my master's in school counseling. Never really went into school counseling. I was already on the admin track, so I just kind of continued down that path. And 3 years ago, I had opportunity to come back home to Adams City High School as a dean. And that was right before the pandemic hit. And so initially I was interviewed for an AP assistant principal. And with the pandemic, they weren't going to move on with that position. Just they didn't know what school was going to look like. They didn't need another AP at that time. So they asked me to come on as a dean, and they said, hopefully, we can move you into something. And through the years, it's been my goal to become an AD. So it just happened that in my home school, my hometown, and the opportunity was there. And I'm so grateful for the opportunity.
Wow. I always love to hear the stories and the twists and turns that each person has on their path. We've had a number of people that are now working as athletic directors at the school where they attended. I still remember a long time ago when I got out of college. I didn't work full time at my old high school, but I did substitute teach there for a year. And I remember the looks of some of my old teachers or coaches as I walked through the door. And it was literally, you became a teacher. Were any of your former teachers or coaches still on staff when you came on board?
Yes, actually, yeah. Well, two of my former teachers. One is actually a principal at our alternative school, which is like one block away from us, and one is um, the woodshop teacher. And he's actually just retired last year, but he came back to work as a in the capacity as a teacher until we could find someone, So and it's been nothing but great support from them in this position, one of them was my not only my teacher but my baseball coach, and the other one my son wrestled for. So we've had a pretty great relationship. So it's been nice to be able to call them my colleague rather than my teacher.
Yeah, that's always tricky that first time you go to call one of your former teachers by their first name. Let's talk a little bit about becoming an AD. Now, sound like you had a lot of experience, as a coach, as a teacher, you were assistant principal, but there's nothing like, putting on that AD hat and what I call coming to the other side of the desk. Um, did you feel like, you were well prepared? Of course, there's always new things that pop up, but, how'd you feel those first few, let's say weeks or months on the job?
I got hired in the summer, so at the end of June, and so coming into it, that's when actually my secretary just went on to summer break. So a lot of my learning was on my own. So I was just trying to figure things out and trying to figure out like what she does compared to what I do, so I kind of stay out of her way. So so coming, I felt somewhat prepared as a former middle school athletic director in Denver Public Schools. I got to do a little bit of work with our high school athletic director. So I knew some things, but it seemed like every day was a learning process as far as what needed to be done and prepared for the fall season. I think the biggest surprise was like, okay, I was told my fall schedules were complete and ready to go. And when I was getting emails from other ADs or AD secretaries about, hey, can you confirm this date? And I didn't see it on our schedule. I was like, uh-oh. So I just started, making phone calls and emails and trying to make sure our schedule was confirmed for the fall. So I think that right there was a big learning curve in itself.
Yeah, those schedules, they're never done until that last game is played, and now you're moving on to the next season. And you made mention of the administrative assistant. That's absolutely right. Most of the time, if we can just stay out of their way, the program runs pretty smoothly, and we try not to mess it up. For our listeners, our guest today is Andrew LaCrue. He's the athletic director at Adams City High School, and that's in Commerce City, Colorado. We're going to take a quick break, but we'll be back. Please stay with us. This is the Educational AD Podcast. We want to say thanks to Hometown Ticketing, the leading digital ticketing provider to schools and colleges. Go to hometownticketing.com, and they're going to show you how to set up your school to sell tickets online, how to scan the attendees that come to your games and collect your revenue. And every step of the way, you'll have a dedicated client success manager that's providing you with hands-on support. That is just what it sounds like, hands-on support. Go to hometownticketing.com, and they'll show you how to set up and sell tickets for things like school dances, school plays and concerts, even graduation. That's hometownticketing.com. Simple and easy online ticketing. We also want to say thanks to Sideline Interactive. Their indoor scoring tables and video boards not only generate income for your department, but they also create the ultimate game day experience for your student athletes. We've got a Sideline Interactive indoor scoring table in our gym, and it's just fantastic. We use it for home games, of course, but we also use it for pep rallies, for signing ceremonies. It's tremendously versatile, and their customer service is just fantastic. Go to sidelineinteractive.com or email them at info@sidelineinteractive.com to set up a live web demo and see their tables and their boards in action. That's sidelineinteractive.com or sales@sidelineinteractive.com to get started. Welcome back, everyone, to the Educational AD Podcast. Our guest is Andrew LaCrue. He's the athletic director at Adams City High School, and that's in Colorado. Andrew, we always like to have our guests share a little bit about the mentors that they've had in their life. None of us get to where we're at on our own. So, who are some of the mentors that you have had that have helped you along the way?
Jake, I look at when I first got into education, I kind of just stumbled upon it from, as I said, my degree was in mental health and counseling. So I was working in the mental health field and all that. So when I first got in education, I worked for Adams 12, going in as a case manager, working with students who've been expelled and referred to truancy court. And I met the assistant director, and she just helped me along the 4 years I was there, just continue to push me to grow. And since then, as I moved on, it's been more about who I wanted to work for, not where I wanted to work, So at each of my stopping places, I have been fortunate to know the assistant principal or principal, and they've put me in great positions to continue to lead and grow. So I'm thankful for those individuals and to help me to get me where I am today. And now I'm fortunate to work for a principal who was a former AD for 7 years and very familiar with our community. So now he's just a blessing and supporting me in my role as a new athletic director, and always encouraging me to look at things from a different lens, and just always checking in with me to see if I'm sorry about that, to see how everything is going, and then just helpful hints and tools. So now it's just great to be able to work with my principal, Chris Garcia, now, just because with his years of experience, it's been a blessing as I transition into this position.
Oh no, absolutely. It's so great to have those resources, right there in the building, or as you mentioned, just down the road, for your mentors. So many times we'll talk to ADs and they had a mentor in college that's no longer around, or their first boss. And so it's great to have those mentors that you can still reach out to. And I think you and I have talked a little bit on the Facebook forum about just adding to our network and increasing the people that can serve as mentors. Let's go and talk about that network. We also like to have our guests share where they're at in their own journey with their state association as well as with the NIAAA. So share with our listeners, how'd you first hear about your state athletic director association and what's going on with you and let's say the NIAAA right now?
Right. Yeah. So when I first got this position, it was actually my principal who told me, it's very important for me to be part of the Colorado Athletic Director Association and the NIAAA and all that. And so he turned me on to that to make sure I got registered as a member, and how important it was for me to start continuing my education through there. Since they're, like, for example, today is professional development for our district. So there's really nowhere for me to go for professional development besides just staying in my office. And there's plenty of things for me to do on a league level and a district level for athletics. But so I'm actually going to be taking my first class, the 502 class, here next month. And then I registered for 501, and I believe it was 503 after that. So I'm in the beginning process of this as far as getting involved. And unfortunately, I'm not attending our conference this year just because it's so soon. And with my first year in this position, I want to make sure that I'm not missing too much of our events and all that. And I like to be at them and make sure everything's running smoothly. So still in the learning process of that. So I'm choosing not to go to that national conference, but next year definitely, or in the summer, I'm looking to start attending more of the conferences and to grow my network. And I've been fortunate that the ADs in our league, I've already had a relationship due to my experience in education. So, one of the ADs, I was actually fortunate enough to hire him, and he's now a full-time athletic director, and the other ADs just from working at other schools. It was a blessing to come into my league. It's like, okay, I already have a relationship with these athletic directors, so their assistance in my transition and encouragement as far as joining CADA and the NIAAA has been great as well.
Well, that's great that you're starting your NIAAA journey with those courses. Keep going at it. I'll throw out a couple of opportunities since you're not going to be coming to Nashville. Our state conference is that first weekend in May. Come on down to Orlando and take a few courses. And then I think next year the national conference is coming back to Orlando in December. So one way or another, we're going to get you down to Florida. Okay.
Right. Yeah. And I've enjoyed going up to Orlando, Florida. Our wrestling team goes out there every summer for the Disney Scholastic Duels. They've been doing that for 20 years. So any reason for me to get back to Florida, I'm on it.
All right. That's good to hear. For our listeners, our guest today is Andrew LaCrue. He's the athletic director at Adams City High School, and that's in Commerce City, Colorado. We're going to take another break, but we'll be back. This is the Educational AD Podcast. We want to thank our good friends at Snap Mobile for their support of the Educational AD Podcast. At Snap Mobile, they know that you need a hand, and they're here for you through all of it because they know that to develop something right, the proper support matters. Go to onsnap.com and check out their platform of what they can provide for athletic directors. Part of their platform is Snap Raise, the fundraising component that's helped raise over $500 million for over 90,000 schools, just like yours in the United States. Snap Spend is the secure and transparent money management platform for clubs. Snap Store is also part of the platform, and it provides high quality, affordable, custom spirit gear. Snap Manage is their website construction platform for your entire athletic department. And Snap Connect is the multilingual family engagement and communication platform. You can find all of it at onsnap.com. That's onsnap.com. We also want to say thanks to Wall of Fame by Vital Signs. They're on a mission to bring your school's legacy to life. If you're looking for a really cool way to display your school's record boards for all your teams, for all your sports, and your school's Hall of Fame, go to vitalsignswalloffame.com. Their interactive touchscreen consoles and their library of templates can help you recognize the athletic achievements of your students, both past and present. Shoot them an email at sales@vitalsignswalloffame.com. Let them help you showcase your school's diverse history and your proudest moments. That's vitalsignswalloffame.com. Welcome back, everyone, to the Educational AD Podcast. Our guest is Andrew LaCrue from Adams City High School in Commerce City, Colorado. Andrew, one of the things we try to do with the podcast is this idea of sharing best practices. So I'm going to put you on the spot. What are some things that you guys do at Adams City, or maybe things that you've seen at other schools, that you're particularly proud of and that you would call a best practice?
Jake, just jumping into this position, it's been interesting because there's been such a turnover as an athletic director at Adams City High School. Like every 2 years has been a new athletic director for probably like the past 10 years, which is very uncommon, especially for the schools around us. So coming in here, I'm looking to, create a lot of those best practices because there's been just so much change, as mentioned. So one is, the athletic director's toolbox has been a great help as far as one, getting to know my budget, two, getting to know board policy. So with the board policy, I've been really working with my outside organizations who use our athletic fields and really looking at our policy and look and see, hey, these have not been revamped in over 15 years, so a little outdated. So working with the people at our district level to revamp these board policies to better build a better partnership with our outside organizations. I want these kids to be a future Eagle. So getting them to buy into what is an Adams City Eagle. So welcoming them to Adams City High School and letting them know that, hey, you're welcomed at our athletic events. So so growing up here, we used to wear athletic jerseys to home football games and we would get them free. And that was stopped somewhere down the line. So now just going back out to these programs saying, hey, you bring your jersey, you wear your jersey, you get them free. And, something I incorporate is that our students, a lot of our students don't have the financial means to pay for it to get in the games, or it's either they pay for it to get in the game or they pay for concession stands. So we're really trying to push our students having our IDs on them at all times. So now you come to a high school event, you have your school ID, you get into the game for free. I don't feel just charging them to watch their friends play an athletic event is I didn't see no point in that. So we're now building capacity as far as having kids in the stands at the games. Now they have money for concession stands. So really building that crowd, and working and looking at our board policy and how we can get more people in our stands to support our students.
Yeah. What you just talked about is truly one of those best practices that we see nationwide. The complaint is, how come the kids don't come to the games, or how do we get more kids? Okay, well, and then they'll say, well, you can't let them in for free. Okay, well, if the kids aren't there, not only are you missing out on the gate revenue, you're not going to sell any concessions because the kids aren't there. So getting them there, you're increasing the school spirit, connecting with those other kids, those other coaches, and oh, by the way, they're paying for those concessions. It's a great idea. Okay. Andrew, you and I were talking before we came on about your program, and you were very excited about some things happening with softball. Share that with our listeners. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, so actually, a couple years ago when I first started as a dean here, I had some coaches approach me who I knew in the community already, and then they talked about one day coming back home to Adams City and taking over the program because they were big into coaching girls softball. And this past year, they weren't coaching anywhere, and I became the athletic director, so we connected. And in the summer, they came and they took over our program and really revamped our field, got the girls to buy in to take care of their field. And it was a change for our girls because there was a lot of expectations set in place for them about being part of the softball team, and these girls were hesitant at the beginning, but they bought in. And our team has always been looked at as a team as like almost like a guaranteed win. But this year, these girls just came out and believed. And the motto for this year from the coach was more is possible. And once those girls bought into that, every game they competed in, and actually we made it to the league championship, which they never played in. Unfortunately, it was a close game, and we didn't walk away the victorious. But we also made it to regionals. And what was cool about that was, being able to get hotels for the girls and travel out of town and all that. But them experiencing that and then playing softball, they always played for just to be around their friends. But some of our girls have gotten attention from local junior colleges in Colorado, and these coaches have been reaching out to them. And at our regional tournament, the coach, junior college coach, was there, and he asked to speak to some of our girls. And at the end of that conversation, when we went to go have lunch, they're like, LaCrue, like, I just got to talk to a college coach, and I was like, yeah, that's pretty awesome. They're like, we have a chance to go to college to play softball now. I was like, yeah, there is definitely an opportunity, So seeing that light in them has been amazing, and I can't thank those coaches enough for not only being a great coach, but being a great person to our students and getting them to believe in themselves on the field and off the field has been such an amazing thing for our girls here at Adams City High School and our softball team.
Oh, again, that's one of the really cool things about being an athletic director is seeing that program grow, knowing the history of it, and then the other aspect that you mentioned, the girls, their excitement at just the possibility, and then maybe the reality of getting recruited and signing with the college. That's got to be exciting. Make sure you update us on that as we keep going. And for our listeners, Andrew and I connected through one of the Facebook athletic director groups. There's a couple, they're all very good, but check out, high school athletic director, secondary school athletic director. There's a couple others out there. And turning this back to you, Andrew, if one of our listeners wanted to reach out, pick your brain a little bit, find out more about the Adams City program, what's the best way they can get a hold of you?
And I'll say the best way is, either through my email, and that's my first initial A, my last name LaCrue, ALACRUE at Adams 14, or even you can find me on Facebook, Andrew LaCrue Senior. And I put senior because a lot of people will request my son when they're looking for me, so that's always fun. And even, those will be the best ways to get in contact with me and reach out for any type of support. And instead of being part of that Facebook group has been great because I'm always, posting questions and getting some type of feedback, So with them sharing to me, I'm always open to helping someone else grow as well.
Absolutely. And again, if you're thinking, oh, Facebook, I don't want to do it, just go on for those groups, those athletic director groups. They are very good. Our guest today is Andrew LaCrue. He's the athletic director at Adams City High School in Commerce City, Colorado. We're going to take another break, but we'll be back. This is the Educational AD Podcast. We want to say thanks to Gipper for their support of the podcast. Go to Gipper.com and see how athletic directors are creating world-class marketing content for their school's social media channel. You can do it in seconds on any device, and you don't need any design experience. It's so easy, even I can do it. Go to Gipper.com and tell them you heard about it on the podcast. Use the podcast code ADPOD10 and get 10% off. Go to Gipper.com, start creating custom branded content for your school's social media channel. Gipper.com. We also want to say thank you to Huddle. Go to Huddle.com. Huddle is how the world sees sports. Over 200,000 teams use Huddle to help their athletes play at the highest level. As a football coach, I used Huddle for years, but as an athletic director, our school was a Huddle school, and our coaches just loved the smart cameras, the mobile apps. Of course, they love the analytics, but there's so much more. Go to Huddle.com and find a tool to help every team, every coach, and every athlete improve. Huddle is a complete solution for your athletic department. And if you go to Huddle.com, they're going to help you allow your athletes to perform even better. We believe in sports, and teams believe in Huddle. Join the 6 million users. Go to Huddle.com and turn your school into a Huddle school. Welcome back to the Educational AD Podcast. Andrew, one of our topics that we've been asking ADs almost since the very beginning of the show goes back to this idea of toughness. I like to say 100 years ago when I was in high school, our coaches would say things like, come on, Jake, you got to be tough. And we pretty much knew what they meant, and we did it. In the many years since then, I think we have found much better ways to communicate to our student athletes. But I still think that toughness is an important facet of the athletic experience. So my question to you is, how can we help kids to develop toughness while also being aware of the very real challenges that a Generation Z kid experiences that I never had to go through? Do you have any advice for us?
Yes, in my community, our kids face a lot of challenges. And, a lot of them do have to work outside of the school and athletics. So having them, work in that schedule. So having these tough conversations with them about, just about their life experiences and how those are just transferable skills on, off the field, the basketball court, whatever sport they're playing, as that they've gone through a lot of things that some of the adults in our building have never gone through. And they're such a young age, so using their toughness and to help their athletic abilities grow, so our kids get down on themselves a lot. So I try to use real world experiences with them to help them be tough and encourage them, and let them know tough does not mean just because you got hurt, you get back up and play. What does tough mean? And asking them what it means to them, and having them, push themselves and stepping out of their comfort zone and believe in themselves. And when these kids rise to their own expectations, they a light bulb goes off in them, and then it's like, all right, now let's set that bar a little higher. Don't prove to me, prove to yourself. Your best competition is the person that you see in the mirror every day. So I've been fortunate to, like I said, be in this community and coach a lot of these kids in this community. That having these conversations with these kids is one of my favorite part of this job. After the bell rings, being able to see these kids in the hallway and have them and encourage them. Just like when we talk to the softball team and, hey, it's time girls to, put the foot on the gas, all gas, no brakes, and getting them excited, So, but having those conversations about their life and what they're going through and how they could apply that to the real world and as they continue to grow into a young adult, and let them know that, hey, the crew will always be here, always willing to have those conversations with them, because they're a teenager. They think they know everything, but it's like when you guys start asking those questions, it's like you guys realize that, hey, I do need some support. So always here to support them and have those tough conversations and encourage them to grow as an individual on and off the field, and become a better person.
Yeah, you're so right. Having those conversations, building those relationships, allows you to, you know, be tough and, help them to develop their own toughness. Very cool stuff. Once again, for listeners, our guest today is Andrew LaCrue. He's the athletic director at Adams City High School in Commerce City, Colorado. We're going to take another break. I know that's shocking, but we're almost done with our breaks. Please stay with us. This is the Educational AD Podcast. We want to say thank you to Final Forms, the industry leader in forms and registration, but Final Forms is more than that. Final Forms can help your stakeholders with things like mobile accessibility, and they've got reminders for parents about policies, about physicals, and all the forms that come when you have an athlete in the house. Final Forms can also help your coaches with things like attendance and communication. And for an athletic director, Final Forms can help you with eligibility, with rosters, and all the reports that come across your desk. It's time that you talk to a team that's walked in your shoes. To take the next steps, go to finalforms.com/Jake. That's finalforms.com/Jake and get started with Final Forms. Welcome back, everyone, to the Educational AD Podcast. Andrew, another one of our longstanding questions has to do with this idea of social awareness. And I know that's a big umbrella, but how can an athletic director do a better job of being socially aware for their district, for their stakeholders?
I think one thing I'm really trying to do, and I think I have two teenage boys at home, and they actually come to the school I work at too. So always having that conversation with my kids on my at home, which naturally rolls over to being socially aware within my building and being from my community. One thing I push to my kids is let's change the narrative. Sometimes Adams City is not seen in the best light, and our kids, will sometimes will feed off that. Oh, we're just from Adams City. Oh, we're just from Commerce City, and so I give them examples like, look at me. I'm from Commerce City. I'll share my struggles with them and what my home life was and my personal life, and but just let them know the importance of being socially aware, and their intent versus impact, right? And just encourage them to be better human beings, and whatever topic is going on, like we're facing some issues within our own district, and encourage these kids again to be advocates. Whenever they're out in the community, let them, people are watching, and how do you want them to say, oh, your kid from Adams City? Do you want them to report back in a negative fashion or a positive fashion? So always be aware of where you're at, your surroundings, your interactions with people. And so sometimes the world does get the best of us, but it's just acknowledging that and growing from that. And we are going to make mistakes, but learning from those mistakes and to be a better human being. And, at the end of the day, when these kids leave this high school, I want them to be a better person, and wherever path they go, I want them to know that they always come back here, and whether it's me, the principal or teacher, they could always get that support. But just pushing our students to be socially aware and asking what that means to them, but challenging their viewpoints. And especially in the world we live in today, there's so many opinions about certain things, and sometimes your opinion could get you, as they call it, canceled. But being able to articulate yourself in a fashion that that people understand and people respect.
Yeah, and it kind of goes back to your last segment, building those relationships with your student athletes, with your own kids, as you mentioned, that allows you to have those conversations, that allows you to have the impact that we want to have as educators, as leaders, as athletic directors. Absolutely. It always comes back to those relationships. Thanks so much for sharing. This has been really cool, getting a chance to hear about your school and get to know you a little bit, but we're not done yet. We always like to wrap up with the athletic director's toolbox. So we're going to take a final break, hear from Athletic Surveys by Lifetrack, who sponsor this segment. And when we come back, we're going to find out what Andrew LaCrue is going to put into his new athletic director toolbox. Please stay with us. We want to say thanks to Athletic Surveys by Lifetrack for sponsoring the Athletic Director Toolbox segment of the podcast. Athletic Surveys by Lifetrack are a quick, easy, and affordable way for you to collect comprehensive data that allows you to evaluate and improve your entire athletic program. Now, at the schools I was at, we use surveys for just about everything, for coaches, for teachers, for kids, and for parents. And the information that would come back was almost always over the top positive, and it'll be the same for you. But the surveys also allowed that squeaky wheel parent to vent a little bit. And sometimes they'd share a small issue that you could address and keep it from turning into a big issue because you didn't know about it because you hadn't done a survey. Go to athleticsurveys.com or email them at info@athleticsurveys.com to get started. If you've never used a survey to take the pulse of your parents or your student athletes, you're really missing out. Talk to the pros at Athletic Surveys by Lifetrack and let them help you take your athletic program from good to great. Well, we have been visiting with Andrew LaCrue, the athletic director at Adams City High School in Colorado, and it's that time of the podcast. Adam, you've certainly established that you know your way around the world of athletics, but right now I'm going to challenge you to send out a brand new AD on their very first job. But I'm only going to let you put 3 things in their toolbox. What 3 items are going to go into Andrew LaCrue's athletic director toolbox?
I think last night I was actually just sitting there and looking over the book again, and I think the first 2 items on there was 1, the budget, and 2, the policy and handbook. And one of my other favorite sections was, or actually 1 to 2 was 1, support your staff and have great people, and being a lifelong learner. Jumping in here, looking at the budget, I oversee our budget for the middle school athletics as well. So I work with our middle school ADs closely. And one thing I started doing was having a weekly meeting with the middle school ADs. And that's something they said they have never done one of our ADs been in our district about 10 years. And so she's never had these meetings with the other high school ADs. Like, well, why not? We're all one athletic program. And we want to build that transition, that bridge. And so things have been going great. And we've been looking at the budget closely, looking at, where we could spend more money as far as getting things back up into shape, and where we can cut some areas and focus out those funds on other places. So really getting to know our budget has been a great understanding for myself as well as the middle school athletic directors. They never saw the budget until this year, so that was one thing. They're like, well, we never thought we were allowed to see this. I was like, well, why not? It's our budget. Another thing is, like I said, the board policy, getting to know the in and outs as far as facility usage has been a key for me. Again, as well as facility usage and donors and sponsorships, making sure I'm not doing anything that's going to get me fired. I love my job. I'm back home. I don't want to leave. So really diving deep into that and working with people at the district level to get understanding and talk to the board, especially, for example, if I want to do overnight trip, there's so much, I got to do some paperwork. I got to go before the board. I got to make sure my team, I remove any barriers for my team. So the more I understand about the budget and the board policy, the better off my coaches and my teams are going to be for the future. Because if I fail, they fail. And that's the last thing I don't want, so last is, being a lifelong learner. As I was sitting down last night with my son, writing his personal statement for college, I let him reflect on mine. I had mine from when I was in high school, and a lot of it was just going to college and being prepared so I could create the best life I can for my family. And so now, jumping into the LTI classes and learning and growing as a profession, I'm more excited to become a learner again. It's been a while since I've been in school, but now this is kind of like super grad school, because it's going to be more focused on me as a professional, and more on what I want to do. So I'm excited to start taking those classes and start earning my certificates and become a certified master athletic director and grow. And who knows where this will take me, but I don't see myself leaving Adams City. I want to stay here and retire here in this position. But I need to continue to evolve and grow and build this program into what I dream it to be.
Wow, that's some great tools, and I really love you sharing kind of your own little mission statement there. Great job, and thanks for a shout out about the book too. One more time, if one of our listeners wanted to reach out, pick your brain a little bit, find out how you do things at Adams City, what's the best way they can get a hold of you?
You can get a hold of me at my email address, alacrue@adams14.org. That's ALACRUE at adams14.org, or on Facebook at LaCrue Andrew Sr. And yeah, then just reach out to me on there, and I'll be more happy to, connect and set up a time to meet with someone and, just share my experience as athletic director.
Absolutely. And again, Adam is fairly active on the Facebook AD platform. So check it out. Adam, thanks, or excuse me, Andrew, thanks so much for being on the podcast today, and all the best moving forward at Adams City High School. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Jake. Appreciate your time.
For our listeners, the Zoom recordings of all of our interviews get uploaded to the Educational AD Podcast YouTube channel. Come back again just about every day for new content on the Educational AD Podcast. We will see you next time. Thanks again for listening. We want to thank, as usual, our sponsors who are fantastic, as well as our partners, We Coach and the global community of women in high school sports. We'll see you next time on the Educational AD Podcast.